How is her condition?
My communication with Alsu is very limited. The Russian government has been denying phone calls with her family. Only once did we hear her voice when she was able to speak to journalists, when she actually detailed some of the abhorrent conditions that she's held in. Yeah. She is held in a tiny cell with no room to move. She doesn't belong there. She belongs with her family back in Prague, where we're based.
So her ability to communicate with you is limited, but you have the ability to communicate with others on her behalf. What kind of conversations while you've been here in Washington have you had with officials from the administration? What are they telling you about how much they're going to be able to help Alsu?
Well, here in Washington, we have been advocating for her designation as wrongfully detained by the State Department. While I understand that the designation alone will not bring her home, I think it's an important step towards her release. But I was incredibly grateful to the president for calling on the Russian leader to release both Evan and Alsu.
Well, it seems you shouldn't have one without the other. If the commander-in-chief is naming her in a forum like that with the world watching, what's keeping the government from naming that designation?
Well, now that we've heard it from the president, I think it's up to the State Department to follow suit. I believe that Alsu has been detained wrongfully. My children also watched a clip from the president's speech, and it gives us a great deal of comfort to know that Alsu's government is behind her, that we have the support of this administration.
Well, you have this support. That doesn't make the work of actually getting her home. Maybe it makes it a bit less difficult, but still it is clearly difficult work, as we've seen how difficult it is to get others out as well. What level of optimism are officials sharing with you?
Well, their optimism is somewhat constrained by the fact that it's the Russian government that holds the keys to Alsu's cell. And we understand the complexities and the difficulties of dealing with the Russian government. But listen, I've been dealing with this situation for many months now. I have two daughters who are at a very tender age, have been without their mother for many months now. I mean, I'm doing the best I can as a single parent, but there's that undeniable bond between a mother and her daughters that I simply cannot replace. We want Alsu back.
I can't imagine. What was their response when they heard the president over the weekend?
Oh, they were so happy. Alsu has a lot of support on the Hill from both parties. Yeah. We just need a little bit more support from the government.
That's got to be a legitimizing moment for them, though.
Yes, and listen, my elder daughter, who is 50, she's turning 16. She's, about 2 years away from being able to vote in elections. I think she also wants to see that support coming from the government to secure the release of their mother.
Well, and she's not just a mother. She obviously is a journalist, and you're a journalist yourself. How should we be thinking about her case and what it means for other journalists trying to operate and do their jobs in areas where it may be difficult and sensitive to do so? How do you rethink your own work?
Well, we know that Russia is not a safe place for journalists, not a safe place for Americans. We're now having to find new ways of reporting about Russia from outside of Russia. It's an unsafe environment, but we stand ready to respond to those challenges. It's too late for me to dwell on the past and think, well, maybe she shouldn't. Of course, she shouldn't have gone. But I'm now focused on the now, on our efforts to secure her release.
Has it made your own work more complicated, or are you working full-time on her release?
Yeah, I have that day job, too, of leading Current Time TV at Radio Free of Radio Liberty. We continue to provide uncensored information to Russian audiences inside and outside Russia.
It's amazing, and obviously, while you are able to share so much with so many who are able to get that information from you, as you told us at the very beginning, you can't get much to Alsu herself right now. If she could hear you doing this interview, what would you tell her?
I would tell her, Alsu, we love you. We want you back. There's a worldwide campaign for your release. Your government has got your back. We'll get you back home. You'll see your children soon.
Does she know that, the extent to which this is being talked about in the highest levels of the U.S. government?
I think she has been able to receive some information, maybe not to the fullest extent, about the World Well campaign and our media appearances, yes. And she very much appreciates it. I want her to know that, especially now, after the president has called on the Russian leader to release her, she will most certainly know that and appreciate that effort.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when the president did so, he mentioned another journalist who was in a similar position, in Evan Gershkovich. Have you spoken with his family, with his parents, someone who's a family that's going through a very similar situation to yours?
Oh, yes, I've spoken with them many times. I have nothing but respect for Evan and his family. I stand with Evan, and I appreciate the support that we've also received from the Wall Street Journal in our effort to secure Alsu's release. Alsu and Evan, they don't belong in Russian prison cells. They belong with their families. In Alsu's case, she wasn't even there doing her work as a journalist. She went there on a humanitarian trip, and the Russian government just captured her in the middle of this act of kindness. We want her back.